Michael Porter Jr. is one of the rare NBA players who still got a chance to live out his dream as a professional basketball player despite the injuries. When you look at guys like Derrick Rose, Jabari Parker, etc., these are guys who were elite but did not actually get to live out their potential due to injury. Victor Oladipo is another name on that list, and while Michael Porter Jr. has not reached the heights that he was once destined to reach, he still has done a lot of great things in the NBA, championing with the Denver Nuggets, multiple iconic playoff shots. Now he's on the Brooklyn Nets. He said he feels like his skill set plateaued on the Denver Nuggets. The Brooklyn Nets is another chance for him to make a great case for himself as one of the better wings in the NBA. He is still a bucket, especially when he's playing the Los Angeles Lakers. But I want to ask a question today. What if Michael Porter Jr. never got injured? Because I don't think people realize how crazy the NBA would have looked if MPJ was never injured. Allow me to explain. What's going on, guys, and welcome to our BoxInOne NBA What If series. This is something that we promised on the channel for months on end, and finally we are making it happen. Basically, how this series works is we take a random player and somebody that's not necessarily super integral in the overall history of the NBA and the National Basketball Association, but still has made a stamp, and using a combination of advanced stats, metrics, AI, everything, our own judgment, we walk you guys through how we think the league would have been different if this player did not go through said unfortunate event. Michael Porter Jr.'s unfortunate event was back injuries, that being injuries to his L3 and L4. Look at these senior year stats. Look at these high school stats for a second. 36, 14, 5, and 2. Naismith High School Player of the Year. 29-0 in his senior year. This guy was destined for greatness. I mean, compared to guys like Kevin Durant, Michael Beasley, Carmelo Anthony, Jabari Parker, Harrison Barnes, he was one of the ones. He was a top 10 pick in the NBA draft, just always excelling and always rising as a scorer. But then he got to Missouri. Unfortunately, 2 minutes into his first game in college, he got injured, L3 and L4, had to get surgery, came back later that year in postseason, but because of things, injuries, just being lackluster, not being able to train on a back injury, he needed that surgery again. He's missed multiple seasons in the NBA, even on the Denver Nuggets, due to that back surgery. So let's take things back a little bit. Just to take it back for a second, let's look at his high school stats again. 36.2 points per game, 13.6 rebounds per game, 5.0 assists per game, and 2.4 steals per game. This kid was a bucket. So what would his college stats be if he didn't get injured? Now, looking at his college stats that actually happened, we have November 10th, 2017 versus Iowa State. He only played 2 minutes, scored 2 points. Came back March 8th in 2018 versus Georgia in the SEC tournament. 28 minutes, 12 points, 8 rebounds on 5 of 17 from the floor and 1 for 4 from 3. And then March 16th, 2018 versus Florida State in the NCAA tournament round 1. He played for 28 minutes, went for 16 points, 10 rebounds, shot 4 of 12, only 2 of 5 from 3 in Missouri, lost 67-54. Exiting that March Madness bid. Now, again, in this series, like we said, we use advanced stats, we use AI, we use all types of metrics. So what I asked AI to do was compile a list of all of his NBA comparisons, and this is the list I'm going to read off right now. Those comparisons being Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, Michael Beasley, Jabari Parker, Jason Tatum, Brandon Ingram, and Harrison Barnes. All players he was compared to in college. I said take their college stats, compare them to Michael Porter Jr., take the high school stats of those guys, compare them to Michael Porter Jr., scale up the game so that it would be the 2018 college spacing, keep and consider the guys on his Missouri team that would make it to the NBA. The only guy who actually made it to his team was his brother, Jonte Porter. And then from there, give me Michael Porter Jr.'s hypothetical stats. This is what AI gave us. Now, let's look at what AI actually gave us. So, Michael Porter Jr., 32 minutes per game, 21.4 points per game, 7.9 rebounds per game. We can just round that up to 8 rebounds per game. 1.6 assists per game. That is pretty accurate for what he does in the NBA. And then his field goal percentage, 46.2% from the field, 80% from the line. 2.3 turnovers per game, 1.1 steals per game, 0.7 blocks per game, and 37% approximately from the three-point line. Now, I asked AI why they gave me these numbers. They said MPJ would have been Missouri's clear number 1 option, averaging 15 to 17 shots per game with 6 to 7 free throws per night. He most likely would have had a 28 to 30% usage rate similar to Ben Simmons, Jabari Parker, or even Jason Tatum in their college years. The 46, 37, 80 splits, they would have showed that he has a mid-range bag. Most of his efficiency is brought down because of that three-point percentage. Again, pretty accurate to real life. And then even though he is a 6'10 guy, he's still a wing, so only 8 rebounds per game compared to when he was in high school with 13.6 rebounds per game, because again, they got bigs now. That's not his game. But again, 21.4, 7.9, 46, 37, 80 splits. Now, with that in mind, I was going to ask AI to give me a hypothetical run through of March Madness. That isn't really as important to the video because while March Madness is something that can elevate the draft stock of certain guys, even if MPJ played half of that college season, giving you 21, 8, and then 46, 37, 80 splits, he was a top 5 pick. This is where things get really interesting in this video, and this is why this is going to be a multiple part series on this channel. I asked for a redraft of the 2018 NBA draft, and I kept redrafting, and yes, I was using AI, but then I was looking at old scouting reports from these teams. I was looking at what these teams needed at that time, and I finally came up with a redraft that, when you really think about it, changes so much NBA history today. And before we reveal that, again, they were saying MPJ might go 2 to the Sacramento Kings. Obviously, that pushes Bagley down to 3 to the Hawks. Now you have Luka Doncic going 4. So you have Luka Doncic on the Memphis Grizzlies. You probably have Trae Young going to the Dallas Mavericks still. There's so many things. They even had him going 3. They had MPJ going to the Atlanta Hawks. There's so many things in the draft, in these redrafts, that made things really interesting. But I finally came up with a redraft that I think is accurate to today in terms of how teams were thinking, but also includes Michael Porter Jr. in that top 10. And then from there, we're going to explain how much this actually changes NBA history, and we'll dive into that so much more in a later video, also focusing on the career of Michael Porter Jr., because we're going to simulate his entire career from this point going forward. With that being said, let us reveal this draft. Number 1, Phoenix Suns. They still need a big man for Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton's your guy. Number 2, Marvin Bagley was a two-way walk in 20 and 10. He still goes number 2 to the Sacramento Kings. This is still happening. Number 3 is where things get interesting. Still, Luka Doncic is taking the Hawks. Take him outright, but it gets interesting because there's no trade, and I'll get to it. Number 4, Jaren Jackson Jr., he stays the same. Modern big for this Grizzlies team. Number 5, Dirk Nowitzki's successor is Michael Porter Jr., a 6'10 forward who's a sniper, who has a great mid-range game, who can learn from one of the best shooting big men on the planet, who's also his size. And Nowitzki, who we also made a video on, Legend Killer Nowitzki video. You can watch that after this video. He's the guy that could train Michael Porter Jr. Again, Melo, Parker, Tatum, Durant. Nowitzki's on that list of big men who can handle the ball and score. Michael Porter Jr. going at 5, getting taken to the Dallas Mavericks. This automatically does not prompt the Hawks-Mavericks trade. Instead, what I decided to do was simulate the rest of picks 1 through 14 and then keep the rest of the draft the same. Trae Young goes to 6. Trae Young goes to the Orlando Magic. Wendell Carter Jr. goes to the Chicago Bulls still. The rest of this stays the same. So Sexton to the Cavs, Knox to the Knicks, the Fortnite suit, Bridges to the Suns. Everything else stays the same. SGA from Charlotte to the Clippers. Everything else stays the same. Now, the one thing that does change a little bit is Robert Williams III actually goes up to 14 because everybody else gets moved up. One, because MPJ gets moved up, so somebody does need to fill in that 14 slot. And we are going to talk about in part 2 of this series how Robert Williams and Jokic in that Denver front court would have been really interesting. But Michael Porter Jr. goes 5th in the 2018 NBA draft. And while this video is about to wrap up, I mean, there are already so many more storylines. As I already said, Robert Williams and Jokic in that Denver front court. But let's talk about Luka Doncic and ATL for a second. What originally would have happened actually happens. Let's talk about Trae Young on the Orlando Magic and how different that looks. Trae Young, Orlando already getting their star. They could get Trae and Banchero. That would be extremely interesting. There's so many things now. And when we look at that 2019, 2020, 21 draft class with the guys that are on these teams now, Luka Doncic is not a Los Angeles Laker right now because that trade doesn't happen because the Mavericks are happy with Porter Jr. Trae Young and Luka Doncic, their fates are not intertwined. Trae Young is an Orlando Magic. The Hawks don't have Trae. The Hawks don't have that 2021 run, right? They might have it with Luka Doncic, but think about it. Trae Young was very integral to that 2021 success with the Hawks. Do you think the Hawks beat the Sixers with Luka? Many would say yes, but let's just say they don't. Ben Simmons is still on the Sixers. There's so many snowball effects here from this trade of Michael Porter Jr. going from 14 to 5 and actually being healthy. And again, like I said, in the next part of this series, we're going to dive into how different that first season for all of these guys looks. So our main players, Luka, Porter, and Trae, who are now intertwined because Porter going at the 5 completely changes NBA history. So the NBA from 2018 to 2025, the whole game is different. There's so many iconic moments that may not have even happened because Michael Porter Jr. went 14. Stay tuned. With that being said, though, that is going to do it for us today. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow all of our socials in the description for more Marcus, more Samajai, more Daniel, more Rois, and more Joachim. This is just the beginning of NBA What Ifs on BoxInOne. Next episode should be happening within 2 weeks, so July 31st. This is going to be a bi-weekly series, and it's going to be really fun just diving into how different the NBA could be when the game is different. The season 1 character we chose to focus on was Michael Porter Jr., but there are going to be multiple seasons of this, multiple installments, and this is going to be one of the main series on the channel along with Beyond the Vault. We also got the TikTok content daily, the Instagram content daily. But again, as always, those socials are in the description for you to check out more of that. As always, again, though, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and smash that subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts on the content. Let us know what other players in future seasons you want to see focused on. Let us know your thoughts on this video. And again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we will see you all in the next one.